This is Thursday, November the 6th, 2025. Current time is 11:51 in the PM Eastern Standard Time. I was going to go over the SPY and just go over why it's doing what it did. Or at least my 2 cents worth. Last month of October, I went over the SPY in more detail than what I normally do and did the math on that. And expectations for particularly the 24th through the 27th here, from that Friday to Sunday into Monday, the expectations was only up to here at 682.15, and it surpassed that substantially more so. Then whenever you have a spike like this or decrease like this, usually the price will gravitate back to where it was to recapture all of it. It may drop after that, but that's kind of one of the, not unwritten rule, but just something that happens often. It definitely rhymes a whole lot in the markets. That last day that I did the math on it, and this is what it came up with, is this range from here to here, from 669 to 675.87, and with the 161.8% level at 680.12. That's what was more or less expected during that day, and it surpassed it. It went way above it, and usually, anytime it does something like that, it's going to come back down to one of the previous levels and recapture that price point that other algorithms couldn't capture, because this happened like as soon as markets opened up on Sunday that evening. And it happened instantaneous, where it's like up a percentage point or something like that anyway. But you can see how come it comes down to 161.8% level. It tried tagging it several times, staying above that, but it never did regain major momentum from there. Yes, it could have stayed in this area here and been fine. It could have hit the bottom of the average daily range, and it could have came up and been fine and just stayed in this area here. At that time, the average daily ranges was getting to where it's pretty close to being very bottlenecked. So typically whenever it becomes more bottlenecked, then you're going to pick a direction after that, more substance than not. And it's chosen to be more of a downward path right now. And anyway, my 2 cents worth anyway, what has been making support and resistance has been this 161.8% level, and other algorithms at 100% level, which should have been resistance, should become support, and it kind of did here a little bit. It's not clear and beautiful right there by no stretch of imagination. It's more clear here, at 161.8% level, the first attempt. Usually the first attempt is the better attempt to get into it, and there's plenty of ghost wicks there too, that showed up substantially. I mean, just like algorithms, or anytime the price even went down to that level, they're just picking it up. And again, over here, there's no full body below that level, and the bottom average daily range is also there. So that's why algorithms picked it up there. The reason that this made resistance up here is because that's my math. Right here, this golden level was supposed to be on the next day or 2 days after that initial one. And I didn't have much range, because again, the math changes dramatically from if it spikes up on a Sunday night into Monday. So you don't have such a high range even possible, unless you just had a super high range the prior day on that Friday. If you have a huge range, then maybe you can have on that expected Monday to have a higher range. You just didn't. But what should have been support for me was 685.15. You can see how the top of the average daily range gets picked up, and then it gets picked up here. And then it becomes some resistance here. It becomes perfect resistance here. It becomes resistance again. But that's the algorithm also saying a previous resistance becomes resistance again. And then that's why you see it spike up to here exactly, then fade off. Then once it drops below the bottom of average daily range, usually there's a catalyst there too that is also associated with that to bring it down even further. Right now it's 669 that is hitting at this exact moment in time. That's why I was going to make a video on it. Because if it's based off this one here, then this should make support right now. Unless there's, again, if there's some news catalyst that takes precedence, which I haven't been following any news catalyst because I think it's all nonsense anyway. And it should make support right now. And the 669.01 got picked up a while ago. But all the other metrics in the market that I normally would be paying attention to today says that, like in that 50% level, that got picked up. Then went to the bottom of average daily range, and then it rejected from there. So it's showing bearish momentum for sure. But the reason I'm making a video right now is because exactly right now is where it shows up as being potential for support. And I don't have a whole lot of time to actually play the market right now. But you can see it in real time here of how algorithms will pick it up and what happens at that time. Mostly sell volume beforehand. As soon as it hits it, nothing but buy volume after that. And this minute here needs to close off here in about 40 more seconds. And then this one should technically be more buy volume than sell volume. But that's exactly where it should have been support about 2 weeks ago, something like that. And just took it all this time to actually come down to there and make some support. So all those algorithms has been waiting for 2 weeks. They're getting turned on right now to be buying it. This is why waiting for your time in the market is more so important than just playing. You have a higher statistical probability of playing right now and getting it to be right in the upward trend than not. And this is a time where if you had an alert set, then you could actually be watching it right now and be hopeful that it can continue to bullish momentum. But it's always about the price, volume, and the action. There's no buy volume that's followed up on that second one. Algorithms pick up on that as well. That's why I can make all the predictions in the world, and if you're not looking at it at that time to see if you're right or not. And even if this does, take a while for algorithms to pick up on it and stay in this area, I've seen it before where it might dip below a penny, and then it gets picked up again, and then eventually, like, it's all sideways action, and then algorithms say, hey, there's no more sellers, let's buy into it. That may be what will happen next. But again, if that 669.01 was the low of the day, that's going to be some real crazy stuff. Right now, though, it's not showing up as being, that buy volume isn't picking up just as of yet. You need confirmation. This is where you need your confirmation to possibly buy into and make a position. One of my other rules is that whenever you get above the non-moving average with the full body of the candle, then you can continue to think it's more bullish. Whenever that green candle gets built into it, you can think more bullish. But right now, it's definitely time, even down here, the Mobius volume waves are starting to trend back to upward trajectory also. But that's probably the low of the day, and I called it live right there. Hope you're happy, health, well, goodbye.